Hi, welcome to my course. This course is about how to start working with the API from scratch for absolute beginners. Now let's see how. Indeed, this course has three main projects. The first one is the Hello World with up to 4 different actions. All of these are really simple and straightforward only for the absolute beginners. Then we have the calculator project, and after that we have the products for working with the database and how to use it inside the API. In addition to test the API, I'm going to talk about the Swagger and how to install it inside your project and start working with it. So the Swagger is really simple and straightforward, but really powerful tools for working with the RESTful APIs. Now let's see how it's possible from scratch. At the beginning, I'm going to talk about how to start creating your Hello World project. It has 4 different actions. The first one is the say hello, and it is over here. If I get inside the Visual Studio, I have the Hello World controller, and inside it we have different actions. From scratch, I'll talk about how to create your first API and also how to develop that by adding the parameters inside it. After learning the parameter, I'm going to talk about how to run it and how to work with it in it over here. At the first step, I'm going to talk about direct using of the API, something like this, and also how to work with the URL with this one. But after doing all of this, I'm going to talk about how to start working with the Swagger. The Swagger is the really famous and most used tools for the RESTful API developers. So I'm going to talk about how to create your calculator, and it's very simple and straightforward. For instance, the first number, the second number, and the action tab, and execute. So it's executed. Now we have the calculator. You can see the result over here. Then I have the first name, the first number, the second number, up to the end. In addition, in the different parts of the course, I'm going to talk about how to start working with the browser inspector to look deeply inside the codes and the result. For instance, you can see the first number, the parameters over here. Then we have the results, and also we have the headers up to the end. So after learning how to work with the parameters to create the great and amazing calculator, I'm going to talk about how to work with the database. So from scratch, I'm going to talk about how to create your database, and it is the product, then how to start working with it inside the project. So after creating the database, it's time to use it inside the project. To do that, I'm going to talk about the structure of the entity framework in the RESTful API. First, you're going to learn more about the structure of the entity framework in the RESTful API. And after that, I'm going to talk about how to start working with it inside the project by learning how to install the packages, how to generate DbContext and models, and how to create the controllers and actions. So the result is this controller is the products controller. The product controller has different parts and different actions for working with the different queries of the database. So we have it, and if I take a look over here, if I scroll down, I have the products. At the first step, we need to load the products. So it's very simple. Come to execute, and the products are loaded over here. So we have something like this, and I can expand that like this one, and all of these are records of the data after calling the products. So come over here, and in the next step, if I take a look, let's clear this and cancel. Great, and collapse that. So we have the get method for loading all the records of the data. Then we have the post to insert the new records of the data. Then we have the search by the name. Then I have another action to search the product by the name and also by the ID. After that, I'm going to talk about how to update the data inside the products table by using the put method. Finally, I'm going to talk about how to delete the product by the ID from scratch, easily by sending the ID and deleting that from the database. Indeed, all of these are available for me, and I'm going to talk about most common parts of it from scratch step by step. So if you are absolute beginner and you want to work with the API from scratch and you don't know anything about the RESTful API, this course is great for you. After watching and completing this course, you're gonna learn how to create the simple and straightforward actions and the APIs in the .NET Core, and also how to work with the Swagger to test the RESTful APIs. And after that, I'm going to talk about how to work with the entity framework in the RESTful APIs for working with the databases. So everything is ready for you to start creating your first API. While you're waiting, let's get started.